Hello everyone, welcome to our channel Electrical and Control Engineering. Today it's the second lecture of optimization of hybrid renewable energy system consisting of PV, wind, biomass, battery, whatever etc. We will discuss generic case. Previously we discussed the main overview of this research paper that was consist of the modeling, the size, the cost, the algorithms, the Homer and the general results. So what we provide.
For any help related to our lectures or power systems research, contact us at the email given in the description. And keep watching our channel.
As already we discussed, this is not a single lecture, this is a series of lectures in which we will design and we will optimize the hybrid renewable energy system using the different techniques, different global optimization techniques like GA, PSO, ABC, and in this case we will discuss an generic. We will also discuss the PV, wind, DG, biomass and grid connected, off-site connected, off-grid connected, and this is the generic. This was the generic overview of that hybrid renewable system that was discussed in our previous lecture. So in today we will go through the modeling of renewable system. And after the modeling of the renewable system, we will go through the operational strategy of hybrid renewable system that we are going to optimize. So first of all, it's the modeling of the PV system. We are calculating the output power of a photovoltaic module. So the power supplied by an PV module will be function of temperature, both the temperature and the irradiation, solar irradiation. So that power will be given by these equations is equal to number of PV panels or the rated power of that one individual PV panel multiplied by G, solar irradiation divided by the reference. The reference was is 1 kilowatt per meter square. That's the solar irradiation constant as G reference, multiplied by 1 plus this K is K into T ambient temperature minus T reference plus 0.0256 into G. So here we are considering the temperature effects. If we ignore the temperature effects on the output of the PV module, simply ignore this portion, this one. So if we include the temperature effects, definitely the temperature, first of thing that the solar irradiation, this factor indicates 0.0256 into G. This factor indicates that the solar irradiation which falls on the surface of an PV cell, then it increases the temperature of a PV cell. This is modeled by this equation. This is the generic available in the literature. So the second thing, that will be the ambient temperature. That's the solar rays, the ambient temperature, where when solar rays is focusing on that, when falling on that PV cell module surface. So the overall the mean temperature will be T ambient, the ambient temperature. So that rays will also increase the irradiation falling on the PV cell module surface, that will be given by this. So adding both these, then minus subtracting it from the T reference, that's almost in mostly cases that's 25 centigrade. So total temperature on the cell surface temperature minus the T reference 1, that will be the causing the decreasing of the power. So in the most cases this is 3.7 and 10 power minus 3, some case 3.9. This is depending on the model of that PV module that you are using. So you can suggest it better to take it from the data sheet of an PV module. That's percentage per centigrade. That's the derating power factor percentage. So that's all about the PV modeling. So in the parallel we will be seeing this implementation of these things in the MATLAB. So here is the MATLAB modeling. So N is the number of solar panels. So in this case, if you see that number of solar panels, that will be given by an variable x2, and we are calculating the solar power of that power PV module. So we will First of all, in each iteration, that will be this for loop will run how many times? The solar irradiation array length. So the loss will be equal to, the loss is actually this factor. This factor is the last one, T ambience plus this one. So that's the 0.0. So in this case is 3.9. In this case we here we will that 3.7. Here is it's 3.9 multiplied by T ambient plus 0.0256 into G minus reference temperature. That will be loss. If loss is below the 0, then it should be 0, because otherwise it will be here minus positive, then it will wrongly calculate the output of the PV cell. So in this case PV is equal to number of solar panel. Here is the output power of a single PV module is 1 kilowatt, so I have written here 1. So in previously the output power of the single PV module was 1 point something in the start, so I removed it. So it was 1.0 something, and 1 minus loss G over Gi. So it will calculate throughout whatever the length of that G irradiation temperature. So the length of the G and the T ambient will be the same. You will be, for a PV model you have two arrays. One array will include that solar irradiation, the next one will be temperature. So the length of the both these will be same. Second one is the modeling of a wind turbine. So the first thing you should consider that the wind speed is dependent on the height. So it's totally dependent on the height of that wind turbine you are using. So the wind data will be available at some reference heights. So suppose at 10 meter, at 10 feet, at 10 meter. So now your wind turbine may be a 15 meter height, 20 meter height. So you have to convert that your wind data in an reference height. So this is the formula. V1 H1 is your reference height, and V2 is your new velocity at that specific height raised to power alpha, where alpha is a constant, a function, a parameter of wind. So normally it's taken different types of different literature review, different techniques are used. However, frequently assume value of this alpha is 1/7. So the power of the output power. So first we have calculated the wind speed at some specific reference height at this H2. So next thing is we have to calculate that output power of wind turbine. We can assume it. So next thing is to calculate the wind turbine output. So wind turbine power output will be given by this equation. So the output of the wind turbine will be 0 if the velocity of that wind turbine, the wind speed is either below the cut-in speed or above the cut-out speed. So here first of all let's discuss the PV, the power, the wind turbine, wind velocity and the power out curve. So it's known as PV curve. So first thing is the output of this wind turbine will be below this 0 if the velocity is below this cut-in speed, or if the velocity is above the cut-off speed. So in between the power will be something, there will be some power. So the first thing here, this indicates that the output will be 0. So in the next thing, that when the velocity is within the is above the cut-in speed and below the rated speed. So in this case the output power will be given by this relationship, that that's the cubical, this is known as cubical estimation of the wind power. So this is the most frequently used, mostly use this formula in the literature, theoretical formula that's given by this. The practical may be a little bit different, but we will also discuss a very good curve fitting method at the end when we will be able to simulate Homer analysis. We will be doing the Homer simulations. In that case we will discuss it in detail, but for now discusses it as a cubical estimation, because its power is 3. So it's a cubic estimation of wind velocity power curve estimation. And when the velocity is above the rated cutout speed, within the rated rated one and the cutout speed, then the output will be simply equal to the output power will simply the rated power of that wind turbine. So this is indicated here. So we have discussed this one, the power wind turbine curve. So below the curtain it's 0 and above we are applying the brakes, no power will be generated if the velocity is, because there is no sufficient capability power in that wind speed if its speed is below the curtain speed. Also, if the velocity of the wind is above the cutout speed, we apply the brakes on the wind turbine because it may be too dangerous, it may damage our wind turbine. That's why we are applying the brakes, we are stopping the power generations, or maybe it's rotation of that that may be some other control techniques to stop this wind turbine, so to avoid the damage of that wind turbine. So that was the modeling of and literature you will also see this equation, and this is the linear a very linear estimation of that wind turbine. The remaining is same as in this equation, but this just the difference is that the powers are in, you can see that the powers are in linear one. Next remaining the power, the formula is same, just this is divided, these Vt and V curtain are divided in the separate, V and V curtain are divided separate, otherwise the remaining formula is the same. It may look different but it's the same actually. So the remaining parameters we have already explained it. So the next thing is the modeling of the biomass gasifier. So let's discuss first the modeling of the wind turbine in the MATLAB. So first of all, wind modeling. So your required your hub height of your wind turbine may be 20 meter or 20 feet, and the wind velocity available is a 4 meter or a 4 meter. So first you have to convert your velocity profile into the reference profile, and the second thing, then you will apply that power equations that we have just discussed here in this in the formula. So the cut-in speed and the cut-out speed of that wind turbine are, cut-in is 3 minimum, if below 3 meter fee second it will not, rated is 11 meter fee second, and cut-out is 20 meter fee second. So we are running a power loop that's running 876. This is actually number of hours. We are simulating it on hourly operation, so it's number of hours in a year. That's 8760. So the velocity at 20 meters will be equal to V reference, that's available profile of that wind turbine, multiplying that by the HW at raised to power alpha. This is the alpha. So we have calculated the velocity at given hub height. So we are applying this equation that if it's below the cut-in speed or above the cutout speed, then the output power will be 0. If it is within, it's above the cutout rated speed and below the cutout speed, then output power will be constant, that's 1 kilowatt wind turbine, so it will be equal to 1. Otherwise we will be applying here it's written the linear equation. You may convert it in the cubical by applying by raised to power 3 all these velocity, then it will become, here it's P rated is 1 because it's 1 kilowatt wind turbine, and the total power will be equal to number of wind turbines multiplied by that individual wind turbine power, that's kilowatt here for throughout the year. So next is biomass gasifier modeling. So the energy generated by a biomass gasifier will be given to this one by this equation. This is given in the literature review, you can see it also in the paper that we are using, as I already shown it the paper. So the power generated at each hour can be calculated by this one, the total biomass available tons per year multiplied by 1000. This is the calorific value of that biomass, and that efficiency of that biomass 365 over 816 operator hours per day. So here is it's the electricity conversion coefficient of that gasifier, and this is the calorific value of that biomass, CV biomass. So next, the modeling of a diesel generator. So in the diesel generator, first of all you have to calculate the amount of the fuel you are spending. So from that amount of the fuel, next you will calculate the operation and maintenance cost and the total cost of that diesel generator. So we will be modeling the total cost of this diesel generator in this case. So that's the total. First to calculating the total fuel consumption, and then we will be calculating the cost of that DG generator. The output of this DG generator is simply the rated power multiplied by some efficiency of that diesel generator. So that will be the maximum power that you can extract from this diesel generator as per your own demand. So the diesel consumption, the fuel consumption of this diesel generator, diesel generator is equal to maybe a petrol engine or whatever engine you are is. So HER, it will be equal to A into P plus B into P. That's the power generated at that specific time. A and B are some constants. Q is the fuel consumptions. That will be liters per hour. So P is the power and PR is the rated power. So here we are constants which appear in the fuel consumptions. So it may be different for depending on different diesel generators, but we have simulated in the MATLAB simulator that has different from these two. So the our efficiency will be the brake thermal and generator efficiency of that diesel generator. So let's see the DG modeling. So first of all, fuel will be calculated, the number of hours running hours of that we are calculating the total fuel of a DG. So it's 60 point. This is given from the data sheet of that DG that we are using, plus DG power, that is the total power generated by that DG, and the DG power used multiplied by this some other constant B. So the fuel cost will be this total fuel multiplied by 0.9. The 0.9 is the cost of per liter cost of petrol or diesel, whatever you are using. That's the total fuel cost, and that's the operation and maintenance cost. So that will be per hour, how many hours you are running, and then it may be $9, whatever your demand is in your country, depending on your situation. What is the operating and maintenance cost if you have DG? So the total cost will be the OM cost and the fuel cost of your DG. Operation and maintenance cost is given here, and fuel cost is given here. That's the fuel cost. So the fuel cost is given here, minus some, that's the fuel cost, operation and maintenance cost. There may be some salvage cost, this is the salvage cost of that DG. You may ignore it, but this depending on your situation. It may be the capital cost, and if it's capital, you are including the capital cost, then it will be positive. If it's salvage cost, then you have in this case the DGs are already installed. So this is the salvage cost, total salvage cost, and this is the capacity recovery factor. We will discuss it tomorrow when we are discussing the cost of the overall project. So this is the some equation. I in 1 plus I, this I is interest rate into project life divided by 1 plus I raised to power project life minus 1. That is the capacity recovery factor. Means you are calculating the annualized factor of the total cost of this DG. So that will be the total cost of a DG per year. So the next thing is the operational strategy. We are going towards the operational strategy. After discussing the operational strategy, we will be concluding our lecture. So in the operational strategy, here we will be so we are simulating in hourly basis. So for in 1 year there will be 8760 hours. So you have to run this loop, you have to this flow chart 8760 times. So first of all, when you calculate, you will be calculating at each time interval, each hour you will be calculating you will be your wind power will be given to you, and PV power will be given to you, and you will be also load profile will also, yearly load profile will be given to you. So you will compare, you will be adding the total renewable power. In case you may not be, you have only wind turbine and PV turbine, but that's depending on your requirement. So if both are available, then PV plus PWin, other whatever the wind renewable energy power is available, should, if it's greater than load, means the renewable energy power is more than load. So we are discussing this operational strategy as discussed in the previous case. We have just given the overview. You may not be pick this one. So here we are discussing in detail this operational strategy, that when the renewable power is more than load power. So it means that you will be charging the batteries, or you will be selling this power to the grid. So in this case, what will be happen? This is the charging side, and this is the, if this renewable power is less than load, means the load is more and the available renewable power is low. So in this is the discharging side. Either you may be taking power from the batteries, you may be discharging the batteries, or you will be running the DGs because your power is, renewable power is deficient than load, so you have to meet the load. Either you will be starting the biomass, either you will be taking energy from the grid if you are grid connected. In the offline, you may be standalone mode, you may be operating the DGs, or will be starting the biomass, whatever extra resources you available. So let's discuss the charging side. So in this side, when your renewable energy is more than load, so you will be comparing this, whether the wind, only the wind is sufficient to meet the load demand or not. So here you are comparing whether only the load demand is wind turbine is sufficient to meet the load demand or not. So if only the wind turbine is sufficient to meet the load demand, then come here, means P wind is less than PW. No means P wind is greater than P load. So come here, only the PW is, wind turbine is sufficient to meet the load demand. So the purpose of this one will be, as the output of the PV is DC and the output of the PW is AC, so there will be just, we are calculating the output power, the extra power that will be supplied to the battery. So in the both the cases, PB be different, because if only the PW is sufficient to meet the load demand, so wind minus load after passing through the rectifier efficiency, that will be the extra power, the wind turbine after meeting the load demand, plus the PV power. PV power will be directly added to this PB because it's DC. It should not be multiplied by this rectifier efficiency. So the extra power multiplied by rectifier efficiency, inverter efficiency, then rectifier efficiency, then adding the PV power, then it will be directly to the battery. So if only the wind was not sufficient to meet the load demand, yes, then the battery power will be calculated by this one, the load minus wind turbine, the remaining energy after dividing by the inverter, as we have to draw more, the remaining power will be drawn from this PV. So the PV power is DC, so we are dividing this by inverter efficiency. So whatever energy deficient load, the more energy compared, if suppose 1 kilowatt energy is available, is deficient, and your efficiency is 90%, so you have to take the 110% from this PV, because you have, at the end you have to deliver the deficient 1 kilowatt, and this is the DC power, so you have to convert this to AC. So we are dividing this one, the deficient 1 kilowatt, by inverter efficiency, so it will be 1.1 kilowatt. So that amount will be extracted from this PV, and that the remaining PV power after providing the, like, let's suppose 1.1 kilowatt to this load, the deficient that was 1 kilowatt, so it will be some extra power because the inverter efficiency will be there, it has to convert the DC into AC, so the remaining power is PB. So that's the PB. So you, and then you are checking the battery, the SOC of the battery, state of charge of the battery. So it's above the maximum limit 100%. So what we will do, so you will set the SOC of the battery to maximum. sorry, in this case, if your SOC is not below the, is not above the SOC, means your available battery charging is less than the maximum, so battery can accommodate that power. So in that case, you will be charging the battery, that the total that power will be supplied to that battery. So in the case when if the total power is applied to that battery and the battery charging, the SOC will be greater than 100%. So what you will do, you will set the SOC of the battery to the maximum, and the remaining power may be sent to the deferrable load. Maybe you have deferrable load may in case of tubal. So in other case, if you don't have the dump deferrable load, or you suppose you are connected to the grid, in that case the extra power will be provided to the grid instead of providing that to the dumping the power or deferrable load. So this is the charging strategy. So let's discuss, see the same thing, how it's implemented in the MATLAB. This is the operational strategy run. So operational strategy, so it will be run for 8760 hourly operation, that's for whole year. So first of all, we will be discussing that whether the solar and the wind turbine, you can see here the solar power is multiplied by an inverter efficiency because it's DC, is greater than the load. If it's greater than load, so you will be, in this case, you will be charging the battery. In the charging, you have both extra power you may sell to the grid depending on your requirement and your nature of so the charging is here. So in the charging you have 90% in inverter and converter efficiency. So first of all, the same as in this flow chart, you will be discussing whether only the wind is sufficient or both are necessary to meet the only wind is not sufficient to meet the load demand. Just computing this one, the same thing you are discussing, that if only the wind and the solar, here it will be the solar instead of generator. So this is actually for a different module, different requirement of the client, so I have taken it as a generalized. So if the PV and the solar power is greater than the load, so in this case the P charging will be, both are greater than, only not this is sufficient. So in that case the P charging will be this one, otherwise the this one will be equal to the P load minus wind, and that is the P solar. Solar minus load minus wind divided by inverter efficiency. Then I have to subtract this from the solar. So it will be your charging power. So multiplying this by the round trip efficiency of the battery. So if the battery was able to that to accommodate that energy, then all the energy will be stored in the battery. Otherwise, your battery will be set to the max, to the maximum amount, and the remaining energy will be set to the damped. And your charging will be updated, because in this case, this charging is the amount as each hour that is provided to the battery. That's some extra feature in this code. You can ignore it. So that was the charging strategy of this one. So in this case, in the grid connected, you will be providing the extra power to the grid. If you doesn't have, if you are not connected to the, if you are not connected to the grid, then it will be deferrable load. The next thing is the operational strategy of the discharge side. In the discharge side, you will first check the battery SOC, because the renewable and both the renewable summation of those renewable energy total power is not sufficient to meet the load demand. So you, in this case, you are checking the SOC of the battery. So how much power is available? So if it's greater than a minimum, means your battery has sufficient capacity, some capacity to meet the load demand. It's for now just checking that it's above the minimum threshold SOC, state of charge of the battery. So first of all, if we draw the power from the battery, so what will be the remaining power of that battery from load after subtracting this wind turbine divided by the multiplying by this inverter efficiency that was met by the wind, and the remaining power was met by this wind turbine. So the deficient amount will be provided by this battery. So if we are checking that, so that power was, the battery was able to meet that load demand. Yes, the battery is sufficient, has sufficient capacity to meet that deficient amount. So in this case, provide this from the battery and do not start the biomass or DG or whatever you have. In case your battery is not sufficient to meet that deficient amount of power, because only the wind renewable energy sources are not sufficient to meet the load demand. In this case, you have to start the biomass. In case you have DG, you have to start the DG, whatever conventional sources, other redundant sources you have. Otherwise, if you are connected to the grid, so in this case you will be taking the energy from the grid. You are also here, if your battery SOC is below the minimum shedding environment and there is no sufficient wind is available, in that case your battery is already discharged. So in this case you will also to start the biomass or the DG whatever you have, and here you will be calculating the DG power or the biomass or the DG power, the biomass power, whatever needed, that is provided from this biomass. So let's discuss the discharging behavior of that. Discharging code is here. So first of all, we are calculating that discharging amount of that should be provided from that battery. Here it will be solar. That's load that was met by the wind, that will be multiplied by inverter efficiency. So that power has to be first, there is a battery as a DC power, so it will be first passing through the inverter and adding the and the remaining will be subtracting this from the solar and divided by converter or inverter efficiency. That will be the total discharging energy that is required. So we are checking that either the battery was able to meet that that deficient amount of power. If it is available, so extract that energy from the battery. So EB, the battery charging state, will be reduced as it is providing energy to the load, the deficient amount. Else, if the battery was not able to meet that load demand, so you have to attain the remaining power from that generator. So you will here we are displaying that the additional power is taken from the grid or whatever generator you have, or conventional biomass, whatever source you have. Otherwise, if your conventional source was not also able, or your generator is not there, or you not want to take the energy from that generator, so in this case you will also a variable that is set to 1, means you are telling the optimization algorithm, do not choose this one, that's not the feasible option. So if you are connected to the grid, in this case you will be that will not be there. In this case you will be this energy will be, you will be taking this whatever energy you want, you can take that amount of energy from the grid. So again back, that was the discharging algorithm. So thank you very much for seeing this video. This is today we will discuss the cost side of this, the cost calculation, the objective calculation, the objective function calculation, the constraints calculation, the next video, and we will give some the cost functions and calculate. Keep watching our channel for the complete design of hybrid renewable energy system. Thank you.